Coming up next on Pastor O'Neill's Review Zone podcast.
A scam, a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation to obtain money or favors by deception. A fraudulent or deceptive act. So they say one thing but mean something else, or they're doing one thing to get another thing, right? So it is a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation to obtain money or favors by deception, to deceive or to defraud. So basically, a scammer wants to get something from you. A scammer wants to get something from you. Could be money, could be favors.
Welcome to Pastor O'Neill's Review Zone podcast. We are glad that you decided to join us today. This podcast focuses on reviewing topics like movies, music videos, audio clips, and even relationships. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome to Pastor O'Neill's Review Zone.
Because at the end of the day, you only out here to fleece people of their money and trying to mask it as if the guy cares about you, he will spend plenty money on you. But my friends, because of the wickedness that is in this world, why is my table shaking? Right? Because of the wickedness that is in this world, not everybody thinks the same. All right. So let's begin by defining some terms here so that we have a point of reference. What is dating? In different cultures, it means different things, to be honest, right? But we here in the Western world know what dating is. It is you're interested in a young lady or you're interested in a young man, all right? You ask them out exclusively. You might meet them on the job, you might meet them in the gym, you might meet them at church. Wherever you meet them is irrelevant right now. But you want to go to a place now where it is exclusive to both of you, where you can get to know more about this individual. So dating is in fact supposed to be designed so you can get to know somebody, not know how much their bank account is. All right. And scammers are only interested in one thing. Scammers are only interested in what they can get out of you, not what they can give. Scammers don't give you nothing. They give you a false sense of security. So a woman will say, well, I bring myself to the table. I bring myself to this date. I put on makeup. I put on hair extensions. I put on my lace front weave. I have my Gucci bag, my Chanel. I have, all these different things, Cartier and all of these different expensive things that you come with. But listen, we're not impressed by that because it is not you. The makeup masks who you are. The lace front weave is not your real hair. So you coming out here dressed all fake and expecting a real man. Make it make sense. So let's get back to what dating really is supposed to be, right? So, according to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, a date is an appointment to meet at a specified time. That's basically what it is. An appointment to meet at a specified time. It can be a social engagement between two persons that often have a romantic character to it. So it can be a social engagement. So you decide to engage socially. Or you might, a simple thing as going to McDonald's, going to, Crab Shack, Long John Silver, restaurant of your choice. You don't have to break the bank for it. All right. You might be going to, my wife and I, our first date, we went to the zoo. And she was so glad to be with me going to the zoo. All right. She was really, really glad just to go with me to go to the zoo. And I think I have a picture of my wife here. I'm just going to show it to you. All right. If you can see. see. There she is. That's my wife. All right. Yeah. That's my wife. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, she wasn't concerned about high paying restaurants, and in fact we only went out to restaurants later on, right? But on our first date and so on, we went to the zoo and she was okay with that. All right. So I don't know where a lot of us get this thing. So typically, if one is interested in getting to know another person of the opposite sex, right, and the feeling is mutual, so a boy like a girl like a boy, okay, a time and a place is established for these two individuals to meet up at a diner, at a park, all right, at a gaming emporium. You know, those of us that love gaming, there are a lot of women these days also love gaming, and they want to go to a gaming emporium, and you can have a skating rink, a bowling alley. All these things are very nice. You can go for a walk at the beach. You know, there are some places they have those chimichangas that for sale, hot dogs for sale, popcorn. You can go for a nice romantic walk later on in the evening, watch the sun go down, and just talk and get to know each other. All right. And don't tell me that that is not your what that is not what you want. So if you out to just go to expensive restaurants and so on, well, that is your thing. Well, all right. But don't make it mandatory that this is what somebody who going on a date has to bound to do in order to show that they love somebody. You see, that is, as again, it all depends on the intent. And if you really want to know the person, you don't care where you go, as long as you can be with them. You really, really don't care where you're going. You really, really don't care. You just want to be with that individual. All right? So that's the definition of dating. So now let's take a look at the definition of a scam. Let's take a look at that. A scam, a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation to obtain money or favors by deception. A fraudulent or deceptive act. So they say one thing but mean something else, or they're doing one thing to get another thing. Right? So it is a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation to obtain money or favors by deception, to deceive or to defraud. So basically, a scammer wants to get something from you. A scammer wants to get something from you. Could be money, could be favors, could be experiences. They want to get something from you. In today's turbulent dating culture, both men and women, so don't feel that it's men alone getting scammed. Women just get plenty scam too. Both men and women are lured deceptively into the trap of dating by false pretenses. And only afterward does the unsuspecting party realize that they have been duped or they have been scammed. So this is really, really bad. So let's give an example here. All right, let's give an example here. A guy only wants to have sex from a woman. So what does he do? He takes her out. He wines and he dines her. She thinks the guy does love her. She thinking that the guy loves her genuinely. But really, in truth and in fact, he's only after one thing. He's only after one thing. Afterwards, he takes her home, or he might take her to some fancy hotel. And she say, wow, I've never been at the Ritz Hotel before. I've never been at these places before, right? And because she really is interested in the guy, only to be ghosted afterwards, right? So when he carries her to this restaurant and everything, he gets what he's after, She thinks, all right, if I give myself to him because he doesn't do all this thing here for me, right? So I give him what he wants. And after all of that, and you really think you really had a good time, you really love this guy, only to be ghosted afterwards. You don't know if he went top, bottom, sideways. He get what he wants. You don't get anything, right? And you don't hear from him again. You end up now as another notch on this guy's belt. It's a scam. So you've got to be careful. Because according to what that lady was saying earlier, a guy can do all of that, you know. A guy, he recognized, hey, that's what I want. I can do that. And you mistakenly think that that is love. And really, it was just him giving you what you want in order to get something from you. And if you're a virgin, take your virginity and you can't get that back. If you're a Christian young lady and you've been working on celibacy and you break that vow between you and God, you can't get that back. Now you with a lot of shame on yourself. Nobody, some people like to hide and so on. Nobody would know, but each time when night you go in your bed, you're lying down and you're crying because you have been scammed. All right? And guys have something similar too. And guys are more scammed, believe it or not, than the woman. Because a woman biologically is built, right? Biologically built to abstain from giving herself sexually more than a man. Because a woman can only produce a certain amount of eggs. She only have a certain amount of time where she can give bear a child. She only has a certain amount of time. She have become preloaded with that amount of eggs on the inside of her. So biologically speaking, she doesn't want to be giving out her eggs willy-nilly. So she has been inbuilt with that desire to abstain more than men. Men don't have that. We have testosterone, that hormone that drives us, right? We are visual creatures. Women don't like to hear when I say this, but you can do what you want. You cannot beat biology. That is how God created us, right? We are visual creatures, and when we see a woman and she sexually appealing, we go in after that. That's the testosterone. That's the biology. That's the way how God make us. And we are able to produce children all the way up until we die. Scientists coming out and say, well, the man, his sperm goes down, and no, forget all that nonsense. Because once you're eating right, you are exercising. Listen, the biology stays the same. You're eating right, you're exercising, all right, you're being diligent and everything like that. The biology stays the same. And if you go with a young lady, she will get pregnant with a healthy child. And that's why today you have a lot of older men in their 70s, especially in their 60s, going out with these younger girls. Sometimes it's family members, sometimes it's distant cousins, and getting them pregnant with healthy children. But nobody ain't going to talk about that. All right? So let's look at another example here. A guy truly loves a girl, and he wants to go out with her. After several attempts, because women, they put up this defense. After several attempts at pursuing her, she finally gives in and decides to go out with him. He invites her to go to McDonald's because, after all, we just want to have something to eat. But she scoffed at the idea, just like the lady is saying there. She scoffed at the idea and instead insisted that they both go to Mesa for sushi. Have you ever been to a Mesa restaurant? Check out the prices in Mesa. Let's check it out. All right. And after forking out a hefty $2,000 for the date, the guy is left broke. until his next paycheck, and the girl simply pecks him on the cheek, thanks him for a lovely evening after blocking his number, and then he no longer sees her after that. So this hookup culture that we have, a lot of women is only interested now. She ain't really interested in you. She wants to go to a fine dining restaurant. You decide to go out there with her. She say, all right, oh boy, he paid for this thing, but I'm really not interested in him. I just wanted to go here. You understand? And so you ended up being scammed. You lost $2,000, or if whether who eat more or whoever, you're still out a whole lot of money. She didn't have to pay for nothing. You pay for everything. All right. And as a man, we generally provide everything. We generally are providers. If I ask a woman out on a date, I am paying. No two ways about it. I pick you up, or if I can't pick you up, I send a car for you. All right. And I'm making sure that you reach back home safely. All right. In both cases, we have major scams for the man and for the woman. Both had elements of deception, because the first one, the guy was only after one thing. In the second one, the girl was only after one thing, but they don't make that known to you. That's the beauty of a scam. They don't tell you what their true intentions are. That's the problem with dating these days. They don't tell you what their true intentions are. Some women really want to get married, really, really interested, and they're coming out here, but the guy, he ain't ready to settle down yet. But he's not telling you that because he wants to get those underwear off from you. Right? He wants it to be decimated and so on. It's a scam. So then how do we weed out these scammers and really get to potential people, right? In this already convoluted dating market, how do we, let me adjust my camera. I don't know how we do this so late in the game though. All right, I think that's much better, right? So how do we weed out these scammers so that we can get to real people that really want relationships? It have men that really want relationships. When I started dating my wife, I told her from the very first time, I said, listen, I am not into this hookup scene. I am not into going here and there. I want to get married. End of story. I was upfront of my intentions. Scammers are not like that. So you need to get upfront and say, listen, what are your intentions? What do you really, really want here? All right. So how do we weed out scammers? First of all, we need to educate ourselves. And you need to educate yourself about human nature. Are men better than women? Are women better than men? The fact is, there are deceivers on both ends. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 9. You ready? Here we go. Jeremiah 17 and verse 9, God is speaking, and he says, the heart of men and women is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. That is the basic human nature. The heart of men are deceitful, women deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? All right. So basically, human nature is deceptive. You see a nice girl, wow, she's beautiful, boy. I want to really, as a man, you feel awesome that you're able to carry this young lady to bed. Hmm? But a man who truly loves and respects a woman, let me tell you, if a man truly loves you and he truly respects you, he is going to wait on you. He's going to make sure that you are protected. He's going to make sure that you are not ever exposed to violence or crime or anything that will harm you. Why? Because love protects. So that's another way to find out. All right. So educate yourself. The heart of men are deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? God knows it. Man look at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And so if God knows the heart of a man and the heart of a woman, you need to go to God so that he can direct you on whether this is the person or that is not the person. But you know what the problem is though? We override God. That's like that clip in what's it? The Justice League, DC Comics Justice League, when Cyborg went inside a Batman plane and he go into the computer, you say, all right, Alfred, don't worry, I will take it from here.
But I'll take it from here.
Right? He says, Alfred, it's okay, I'll take it from here. And we do the same thing with God. We see a young woman, whoo, she's beautiful, boy. All right, God, thanks, I'll take it from here. We see a young man, boy, he's a handsome stud. God, thanks, I will take it from here. And we end up in problems. Because the fact of the matter is, we are no match for the devices of the enemy outside there. We are no match. So you need to go to God, right? That's number one. Number two, 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1. Let's look at that. 1 John chapter number 4 and verse 1. Let's look at that. You have got to put that love interest to the test. You have to put that love interest to the test. See what they're really after. Here's what 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1 says. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, or in other words, test them, to see whether they are of God or not. Because many false prophets or deceivers have gone out into the world. That's what this is real dating advice from the Bible. People that say the Bible don't tell you, but you have to know how to navigate, because this is what you call a universal principle. You're not just trying to test the spirit as it pertains to spiritual things or in church alone. You know, you're praying for people and in the deliverance service. No, this is a universal principle. There are spirits that are attached to people, and it's not just evil spirits. They are even the spirit of a man. You need to know if this person is out here to deceive you or not. You need to know if this person truly is interested in you or not. And an easy thing is to listen to what people say. And if they tell you who they are, believe them. If a girl says she ain't interested in this marriage thing, don't try to feel that you're going to change. Likewise, a guy, if he's telling you he ain't ready for marriage yet, don't try to think that you can change it. It will not happen. So you've got to test it.